All right, y'all. Welcome back. It's going to be Unit 4, Day 18. Some reminders to have, as always, have at your history notebook and taking notes as you go through the video. And make sure that you complete the vocabulary for this video. Either highlight it in your notebook or make a flashcard or write it down somewhere. So let's go ahead and get started. So our terms for today are going to be PLO, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, Islamic Brotherhood, Iranian Revolution, the Ayatollah Khomeini, Iran-Iraqi War, Gulf War, and Arab Springs. Our concepts, we're going to talk about Iranian Revolution and its effects, fundamentalism and terrorism in the Middle East, wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Islamic resurgence. The Cold War is going to split the Arab-Muslim world. Pan-Arabism, which Nasser was really for last day 17, is not really going to materialize during this time. However, there will be a revival of Islamism, which is like fundamental Islamic belief, very strict, based on Sharia law that embraces terrorism to cleanse Islam and kill people that they feel that are polluting Islam. It's very anti-Western. It reasserts Islamic values in Muslim politics, resentment at European and American societies. The extremists embrace jihad, holy war, do defend the Islamic world from attack. Terrorism is justified, and there's going to be terrorist groups that are created during this time. The Islamic Brotherhood will be created all over the world. They originally claimed to be a charitable organization, but they do funnel funds toward terrorism. You have groups like Hezbollah, which is a terrorist organization in Lebanon. You have the Taliban, which is an Islamic organization in Afghanistan. The Taliban is the one that supported Al-Qaeda. They were the ones that invaded the Taliban after 9/11. You have the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, and the most recent ISIS. So again, these are all kind of modern, semi-modern Islamic groups, and some of them lean more toward extremism. So let's talk about Iran. Iran is going to have a religious revivalism and rejection of the West. Before 1979, Iran had no modern infrastructure. It did have somewhat of a Western educated middle class, though very little. Although those people that were educated were actually banned from the country. The leader of Iran was a Shah. He was not very religious. He did not observe religious rituals. He alienated the other religious leaders. He was seen as too friendly with America. America was one that put the Shah in power to begin with. They were more of a puppet state during the Cold War. 1979, the Shah is going to flee to the United States. The Iranian Revolution is going to oust the dynasty of Iran. This is known as the Iranian Revolution. The followers of the major priest in Iran, who was previously exiled, are going to come back to his country. He is the Ayatollah Khomeini. He is going to preach a rejection of the West, hatred of Western beliefs, terrorism, Islamic fundamentalism, and extreme Shia beliefs. He wants to eradicate Western culture and Islamic influences. His regime will support Islamic extremists and terrorism around the globe. In 1979, 1980, one of the things they are going to do is capture American students in Iran. They will hold them hostage for almost a year. This is known as the Iranian hostage crisis. America will be unable to get them out until the Iranians release them. This kind of shows the diminishing prestige of America during the time. And Iran is considered one of the United States' major enemies in the Middle East. All right, let's talk about Afghanistan. Communist Russia will invade Afghanistan in 1980. The Afghan rebels are going to launch a 9-year guerrilla warfare campaign, and they're going to fight against. This is going to be between the Soviets and Muslim guerrillas. Russia will withdraw in 1989, leaving behind the Mujahideen and the Taliban in control of a radical Muslim state. The Taliban and the Mujahideen were the Muslims fighting against the Soviets. What's going to happen is America, this is during the Cold War, so America is going to give weapons, and the CIA is going to give training to the Mujahideen and to the Taliban. One of the people we helped train during this time as Osama bin Laden. At the time, he was an ally, but don't bite the hand that feeds you, and he sure does that. Uh, America does, like I mentioned, arm anti-Soviet guerrillas in the 1980s. In 2002, it was found out after the 9/11 that the Taliban was supporting the Al-Qaeda terrorist organization. They were protecting them. America is going to invade Afghanistan in 2002 after the Taliban supported the September 11th attacks. A pro-Western regime will be installed in Afghanistan after we defeat the Afghan armies. There will be terrorist attacks against the United States Army in Afghanistan. And just recently, in 2021, America finally pulled out the rest of the army from Afghanistan. While our whole invasion of Afghanistan, the United States, has been successful, the state was overthrown, but there continued to be America, and it was in Afghanistan for 20 years. There will be continuous terrorist attacks, and when America left Afghanistan, the Taliban was still in charge of the government. Now, the withdrawal of American troops in Afghanistan was started by Donald Trump, and Joe Biden eventually did pull out the rest of the soldiers in Afghanistan in 2001. So let's talk about Iraq. Iraq will be allied with America at first. Iraq will go to war with Iran. America will give weapons to Iraq. We'll actually give the poison gas to Iraq. Saddam Hussein, who was the leader, will then use the poisonous gas against his own people. The war will drag out until 1988. 1 million people will be killed. After this, Iraq is going to invade a small Middle Eastern country that produced a lot of oil, Kuwait. Saddam thought he could get away with it. America was not happy with this, as Kuwait was an oil ally. So America is going to launch an alliance to invade Kuwait and kick the Iraqis out of Kuwait. This is the first Gulf War. It was led by the United States and United Nations forces. He will be pushed out, and they will drive him out in 1991. The UN will do sanctions, but will fail to disarm Iraq. In 2003, George Bush Jr., his father, George Bush Sr., was the one who invaded Kuwait to get at Iraq the first time. George Bush Jr. thought his dad should have gone into Iraq and taken Saddam out of power. In 2003, he's going to say that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, and he's going to lead a coalition of U.S. allies, like a few countries, not really that many, to invade Iraq. In retrospect, years later, we have not found any weapons of mass destruction. Saddam was not following through with the UN sanctions, but there is like no smoking clouds, no nuclear bombs, no poisonous gas. So the U.S. invasion of Iraq was not really even rationalized. However, just like Afghanistan, there's going to be a civil war, guerrilla warfare, terrorism. ISIS is going to become a new terrorist organization that will thrive in Iraq and Afghanistan. And just like Afghanistan, America will slowly start pulling its soldiers out of Iraq. They do have a functional government, and they're kind of okay with America, but this war has also not been extremely successful. So, lastly, let's talk about the Arab Springs. Arab Spring is a general term for a series of protests that happened all over the Middle East. Some of them were civil wars, some of them were disruptions. It happened from 2010 to 2013. These little civil wars or civil disobedience were caused by corruption in the government, inadequacy in wealth, and localized famines. They're going to affect Libya, Egypt, Syria, Tunisia, Algeria, Iraq, Kuwait, Morocco, and the Sudan. These revolutions will revolutionize the Middle Eastern politics. They will not lead to liberal democracies, however. They will not cause the Middle East to suddenly become liberal democracies. They will change the government structure in some of these countries. After the Arab Springs, the governments of these countries will become a little more functioning, a little more honest. So that's all I have for you today, y'all. If you have any questions, please ask in class, and I'll see you guys in class. Thank you.